I'm in $83,000 of debt. All of my debt is student loans. I have $20,702.69 in private student loans and $62,301.74 in federal student loans. So here is a list out of every single federal loan that I have and the interest rate. The majority of these loans are undergraduate loans, so the interest rate is much lower. My plan is to pay the minimum and invest the difference that I otherwise would be putting towards my debt. Mathematically, I'll make more money in the stock market than I would by paying off my debt. I do have 2 loans. These are my graduate loans that are higher interest. There's a 5.28% and a 6.54%. My plan is to refinance these into a lower interest rate. I do not recommend this for everyone. These are federal loans. They have protections, but I want to lower my interest rate so I can reduce the overall interest that I am paying. I will probably be making a video about my refinancing process and how much money I will be saving by refinancing. That is the plan for now. Also, if you're planning to refinance, you have a link in my bio. You'll get a $300 bonus by refinancing with SoFi.
Hey, I think I'm freaking out. I paid off my student loans almost like 3 years ago to the day. And I've been like building my credit up because I was like a stupid teenager and I screwed it up. But I've been doing like really well and I paid off my student loans. And then I got the refund in the mail and I need to calm down. They sent me too much money, I guess. And what it did, because they sent me too much money, it was like $200. Loans that were closed and fully paid off are now in default. And I woke up to my credit being tanked by like over 100 points. And I just spent 45 minutes on the phone with this really nice girl who just like was trying to figure out what happened, but it seems like my student loan refund of $277 and I got 2 of those checks. How am I supposed to know that that's too much of a refund back? I don't understand. And then since it wasn't my fault, I paid off my loans 3 years ago. They put my loans in default for like $200. So I don't know what to do. How do I fix this? So if you have any ideas on what I should do, let me know. Thanks, bye.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to complain about today. My student loans are through Discover, and they sent me a message saying something like, oh, you forgot to make your payment this month of $1,300 and some odd dollars, which I didn't forget. I'm in grad school, so I'm not making payments right now, but besides the point, who is making that big of a payment? And I tried to call them previously and be like, yo, I'm not paying that much money a month. Like, that is ridiculous. That's more than my house payment. That's more than both my car payments combined. Like, I'm not making that kind of payment, right? They said, well, you've already used the hardship options available because they only offer 6 months of hardship. So they're like, can you get a better job? Can I get a better job so I can make a $1,300 payment to student loans? No, you can fuck off.
Student loans. How do we accumulate $63,975 student loans?
I went to hair school.
Where'd you go to school again?
First, I went to Palm Beach State and then A&M.
Okay.
I got my associate's degree out of state in Florida. College? Yes, sir.
Why'd you go somewhere where you had to pay out of state?
I was living in Florida.
So why was it out of state then?
In Texas, I paid out of state.
Oh, sorry.
The first semester.
Yeah.
$8,000 per class.
How long were you in college?
Like 7 years.
Did you get a master's?
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, there's rough ways to go about college. I think you went about a rough way, and that's why I'm such a big advocate for like tech certifications through course careers and trade schools. And
I did. I went to hair school first.
And then you did the 7 years of university and borrowed a lot of money. Okay. All right.
I actually really love what I do now.
Well, that's great. What was your degree?
Geography, and then I minored in GIS and sociology.
Oh, that's great. There are just still smarter ways to go about school than the way you did it.
I just got off the phone with my loan service provider, and oh my gosh, are they miserable to work with. Basically, I have 8 student loans. I thought that I had paid off 3 of the 8. The first one was $500. The second one was like $1,100, and the third one was $36,ish. They make it as hard as possible for you. Like the way that the payments take time to process, and you still are accruing interest like on the payment that you've already made in the couple days it takes for the payment to process. So it turns out for the first loan, I still owed 4 cents. And for the second loan, I owed $44.45. I think the third one should be fine. They didn't even have like proof of it despite me paying it yesterday and like the pending. So it should be good now. We should have paid off the first 3 loans. But what I had been working on with them for like 3 months with in the fall was making the payments apply to my principal first. Normally all the payments go towards the interest, but the principal is still like accumulating. So I want my payments to go towards the principal first. So I need to work on that because it still isn't, it's being applied to the interest first. So I need to like write them a letter and do all the stuff that I had to do before. But now my first 3 loans should be paid off. So we'll see.
Let me tell you my thoughts about the student loan forgiveness or the lack thereof. As someone who graduated school with over $220,000 worth of debt. Now, I will say this is not the norm. I graduated with a doctorate's degree, so I do have a little bit more debt than most people who just have a 4-year degree. With that said, I personally believe that it is no one's place to pay my loans but me. Some of y'all have forgotten what the word loan means. A loan is meant to be paid back by the borrower, not by someone else, not by raising somebody else's taxes. You chose to take out that loan. It is your place to pay it back. You are not entitled to forgiveness. I know this may rub people the wrong way, but I would rather pay on my loans for 10 years than to pay on everybody's loans for the rest of my life. Y'all really got me on here talking with pimple patches on my face because I have seen one too many TikToks about this topic tonight and how y'all are so mad because no one's going to forgive the loan that you took out. It's a loan. The problem is not the loan. The problem is the rising rates of tuition. For each year that I was in school, tuition rose at least $1,000 a year. Now ask me what additional resources I received each year as a result of that $1,000 tuition increase. I'll tell you none. You're mad at the government when you should be mad at the universities. You shouldn't have to take out a mortgage-sized loan to get an education. And let's face it, no one has over $200,000 just sitting around to go to school with.
I used to be so proud to say that I'm like a first-generation college graduate in my family because my mom and my dad or my brother all didn't go, which is fine. And my mom would always tell me, like, Abby, go to college because you will earn more in your life than what we have now. Like growing up, you will do better than how you grew up. That's what I thought. So that's why I went to college. Tell me why, like, I'm about to be how old my mom was when she first started having kids. They already had purchased 7 acres of land that were in the process of building their own home. And I can't even afford like gas. Like I can barely even afford my fucking rent. Like the idea of buying a house one day is just so abstract to me and just unobtainable. And the fact that like I went to college, like I did all the right things and like I'm no better off at all. Like honestly, I think I'm a little bit, we all are a little worse off. Cause like 20 years ago, our dollar went a hell of a lot farther than it does now. Like was college even fucking worth it?
These student loans, like the calls are really making me regret ever going to college, considering I'm not even doing anything in my degree. But like these calls are just a reminder that I'm like, first of all, doing nothing with my life. Second of all, broke as shit. And yes, I hee hee ha ha about it here, but like it's literally not a joke. It's like embarrassing and it's like the most stressful thing. And I never want to be the person that's like driven by money. Like that's not me, but like sometimes I wish I was so I wouldn't be in the position I'm in. And like dealing with these calls and having to basically say my situation. Like, I literally cannot pay off an amount on these damn student loans. And then the fact that they're so relentless, they call every person in my family, they call people not related to me, but like associated with me. And I don't even know how it's just crazy. And it's like, I hate it. It's like, you're coming at me for my own little debt when this country's in debt. Like, it's so frustrating. And it gets me so angry, and literally it's like, I avoid these calls at all times. They send me into full-on panic attacks. But then sometimes I just have to make the call because they're calling everyone else in my life. And it's so frustrating. And yes, maybe I did it to myself. Maybe I should be smarter about money. Maybe I should just take on any job that like will pay me, and I'm luckily finally starting a job, but it's not what I want to be doing. Not using my degree. It's another serving job. It's fucking working at Hooters at 28 years old, living back at home. It's like, and then it's moments like these that make me question whether anything I want to do in life is going to happen, like at this stage, because it's so annoying. And I just had to vent because fuck it all.
I knew it was going to be expensive. Me going back to school might have been really, really bad. I've done one semester at George Mason so far. I took out $12,000 of loans to do 5 classes. And now summer classes are going to be way more expensive because they don't have the same amount of aid in the summer. So I'm like, great, now I can't make this go faster than I wanted it to. Basically, my first semester was a spring semester. I applied and I was really rushed to try to get away to school. I turned 25 and I needed to go. If I wasn't going then, I wasn't going at all. When I got the real number for how much it was going to cost to go to George Mason, I cried and told my dad, like, I'm going now or I'm not going ever. I was just going to have to be okay with how much loans I was taking out. It was more than I thought because I had misunderstood the tuition breakdown. What I had thought was for 2 years, a full year, was actually per semester. So that was not fun to find out. Right before I was about to go, I found out how much I was getting and how much I'd have to pay. I took out $12,000 of loans to pay for like probably $11,000 in tuition. Just tuition, by the way. I'm living at my aunt's for free. So there was however much tuition cost. I got a $5,000 grant from George Mason, an out-of-state grant. I got almost $4,000 of a Pell Grant and like $500 of something else, and that's it. The rest, so that's how much I had to pay. Whatever tuition cost minus that, that's what I had to pay. And then I got $12,000 of loans available. Not money, not grants, whatever, like money I owe back. I just found out this morning when I talked to financial aid that that loan amount is actually for the entire year and not per semester. I didn't know that because I was applying in spring, so everything was just applied in spring. I didn't know that this needed to be split between both fall and spring when I'm doing an entire year. Told my dad that this morning and I'm like, okay, great, whatever. Now there's going to be like $5,000 in the fall that I can't afford because I won't even have the loans available, and I do not want to take out private loans. And so I thought about that and I was like, you know what, it's probably better that way. Like, this is an estimate, but I'll figure out how to pay what I owe in the fall, and then I'll have less loans that will be like hanging over my head, even though it'll be harder in the fall and in the spring when that money is due. I was looking into it more, and the $5,000 grant is also for an entire year. $5,000 in the spring because it was only doing half of the year in the spring. But now I'm going to have to split that $5,000 between fall and spring. So that's over $2,000 more that it's going to cost me. Am I wrong to think that the $5,000 would be every semester because I got it all in spring? I just feel like this was a bad idea. I didn't want to stay in New Jersey because I really needed to go somewhere else. I really wanted to be close to DC and like move out and do something for the first time. If I had started school in New Jersey, I'd be stuck there. No, it's so expensive. And this is what I would always say when people would ask me if I was going to go back to school. I'd always say that I was going to wait until I'm 24 and then I can file as an independent and, you know, get way more money. And I guess technically I did, but not even. to take me 2.5 years. Not all my credits transferred. I can't do it faster because of the summer classes. I can't even think about how much it's going to cost me. To finish a bachelor's, I have an associate's. I can't afford this. And who knows what's going to happen with his administration. There's literally warnings on FAFSA. Watch for court rulings and stuff. Don't want to come out of school with $50,000, $60,000 in debt after going to school for 2 years, not even for any living expenses, any transportation, any food. I was hoping to one day within the 2.5 years that I'll be here to move out my own place because I'll be 27. How am I supposed to be full-time, completely full-time in school? Still don't have my bachelor's yet. And be making enough money to pay for this stuff and live somewhere. What's the solution here? Like, I want to finish it. I want the degree, but it's so fucking expensive. I don't know. Somebody tell me what to do. I also don't want to spread it out and take a couple classes at a time and maybe not be full-time. Because I need the degree. I need the bachelor's to be a teacher. It'll just be delaying a career. So I guess if there's any scholarships you can think of, let me know.
This probably shouldn't be said out loud, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I've been like thinking for days and days and days about how I'm gonna figure out the student loan payment. And the worst part about my student loans is that $150,000 of it is a Parent Plus loan. And it's my student loan debt, so my parents are not going to pay it. I have to pay it. But like, that's not debt that I can just die to get out of. That's like the easiest solution, and it's not something I can even do. And it's so frustrating.
There are a handful of comments on the last couple videos that I've posted with this sentiment that people who can't afford to pay upfront for an expensive university shouldn't go, or that it's a dumb decision. I want to make one thing clear. I do not regret taking out student loans to go to Notre Dame at all. In fact, I actually think that it was one of the smartest decisions that I made as an 18-year-old. The idea that the only people that should go to expensive elite universities in the United States are the people with families that have the wealth to afford it is ignorant. For many people, going to a good university is the most effective way to improve social mobility. And that is proven. Are there great options that are cheaper than Notre Dame? 100%. But Notre Dame was the best option for me. So instead of telling people to only go to colleges that they can afford upfront, let's focus on making college more affordable, or addressing predatory practices by loan providers, or capping interest rates. There are ways to fix this, and it's not blaming the 18-year-olds that are taking out thousands of dollars of loans. And I stand by that.
I don't think people understand how fucked up it is that we just let kids rack up huge amounts of debt going to college and getting degrees that they'll never be able to get good jobs with. I talk to kids all the time that have racked up a huge amount of debt getting a useless degree, and they're really thinking about going on and getting an MBA that's also useless, that will rack up even more debt for them, and they've never even had a job where they've made good money at all. And nobody in the education system has ever really produced real work in the real world that they've been paid for. It's all these bureaucrats that have just been living in this educational bubble, giving terrible advice to kids that doesn't make any sense, is not translatable to making money in the real world. It's really dark that we're putting so many kids into financial slavery, not even giving them a good shot at making good money with real valuable degrees. I'm going to say it, and I'm probably going to get banned, but your gender studies degree was not a good investment. And it was fucked up of the government as a kid to allow you to take out a really big loan that you're going to be stuck paying for the next 20 years when you're not going to be able to find a job that pays you $100K for getting that degree and putting in that work. Meanwhile, I work with people all the time that have no college degree but have 6 months of sales experience working at a used car dealership, They're getting jobs making six figures working in tech sales. The education system is not a place for smart people. If you're a young person and you've never been around successful people, then it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that the educators around you, the college professors, know what they're talking about. But they clearly don't, because they ended up as college professors. That is not a successful outcome for a life. That's a perpetual state of childhood. It's like adults that you see getting excited about going to see children's movies. This is not the result that you want for your life. If you want to be successful, but you don't have those positive role models, you don't have wealthy or successful people in your life, and you want to work in an interesting job in an interesting industry, follow this channel. I'll help you get the career success that you're looking for.
Student loans conversation is way more nuanced than people are making it, and you should be way more pissed than you actually are. No contact from the loan servicing company, no nothing, just got an alert that my credit score dropped 200 points. I just paid off 20 grand in debt. Everybody has their own reasons. However, mine is interesting, and I really want you to sit down, buckle up, and put on your listening ears, because I need you to understand a concept of something. When my daughter and I are victims of a federal crime, and we are subjected to the federal justice system, we are entitled. There are programs specifically put in place for people who are victims of federal crime. They would not. They refused blatantly. And a lot of you remember the emails I sent, but a lot of you don't remember actually how long I dealt with these people before it got to that point. How much stringing me along, giving me false information, getting my hopes up only for them to be fucking obliterated by these people. The federal government gives no fucks about you. The federal government will sooner default on you than allow you to default on them. They're trying to actively destroy the middle class. Tariffs are making everything more expensive. We are a fucking sham of a country. We're an embarrassment. And we're fucking vulnerable as fuck. And Trump, Mr. Defaulted on every loan he's ever received in his life, is now demanding that we pay back loans at the time where we are in a recession, where people are struggling so hard to survive. And those of you who support that man, and those of you who say shit like, well, you took out the loan, it's your responsibility to pay it back, I paid mine back. This is not the same time. I say gas prices in the 80s and then gas prices now, the only thing they have in common is the core topic, which is gas. But they're entirely different circumstances. You guys are trying so fucking hard because you're so diabolical to make people feel bad when you're barely fucking surviving as is, because you can't open your eyes, you have no accountability, and you can't admit you made a mistake. And I, for one, am tired of paying the consequences of really fucking stupid people.
So the reason why I'm $150,000 in student loan debt for an undergrad degree is because, number one, I changed my major 6 times. Number 2, I transferred through 3 schools. And number 3, both of those made it take 6 years for me to get my degree. Every single adult, guidance counselors, financial services, family members, told me to take out student loans. I didn't have money. I thought that this degree was the ticket to my success, and I figured that once I complete this degree, I'm going to have money to pay off those loans. And this is free money, is what I thought in my head. I was dumb. I will say I have no regret. I can't undo it. And I figure there's people out there that were the same way, dumb, naive, kind of misled, didn't know anything about college, didn't know anything about loans. So let me know. Goodbye.
I'm going to be a little vulnerable on this app right now, so give me a break. I'm alive, but I'm not living. That might sound really morbid to you, but I promise I'll explain. I have been looking for a job since May of 2024, and even before that. And I've made it very, very far with some of these companies. I've done projects for them, like final interview, everything's been going really great. And then people just ghost you, or, they'll tell you you've been rejected. Back to my thing about being alive and not living. I just feel like I'm missing out on so many experiences because I don't have the money or I'm not living in a place that I desire to be. And although it's like easier said than done, I just can't stop comparing myself to other people. It's like, or thinking about other things that I could have done and like how I could have gone about things. Like, I know myself as a person and I know that I put in a lot of hard work and I really care about others, but it has me questioning my worth. Like, maybe I'm not as valuable as I hate Greg, hold on. Just a very lonely feeling when I feel like everyone has their life together and I'm like trying to get mine together, and I've been really patient and I'm waiting for the right opportunity to fall in my lap. And I mean, like, I'm trying to put in all the effort that I can, but it comes to a point where it's like, what more can I do? Like, I feel like it's like putting my life on hold to a different extent that I've never had, and I absolutely hate it. I don't know what to do. And I just see the worth in myself. And despite me being really upset right now, it's like, I just want someone to see it in me. I want someone to also believe in me. I have the skills. I'm not stupid. I love everything that I do. And it's just so hard to not compare yourself to other people. I hope someone else understands, because it's just a horrible feeling.
Is anyone else applying to jobs and going through the exact same thing? A job posted this week, over 100 applicants. Posted 5 hours ago, over 100 applicants. Okay, this is crazy. 1 hour ago, over 100 applicants. I actually feel like applying on LinkedIn and Indeed is dead. Well, it's alive. You'll just be applying against thousands of people. In 2025, I think I'm just going to be prioritizing networking, meeting people in person, making meaningful connections, and also private job boards. If you're in Toronto, the platform that I'm going to be joining is called Terra. Right now, it's just on early sign up. It's a networking app that's coming to Toronto where we're going to be able to see events in real time, and you're going to be able to match with people who actually have the same interests you have. But the part that I am the most excited for is the private job board, because I need to start applying to these jobs that are on these boards before they make it to LinkedIn. And there's thousands of applicants.
I don't know if anyone's feeling the same way, but I'm so exhausted with the job search. I have been fighting for my life for months, almost a year, trying to find a creative role, social media role, marketing role. I'm literally applying for things that I feel like are less than what I deserve because out of desperation, and I'm still getting no's. It's very humbling, it's very exhausting, and it's really deflating. I'll be real, it's very deflating. I'm at the point now where I'm like, maybe I'm just going to be stuck. Maybe I'm not going to find a new job. Maybe I'm just not good enough. Maybe I just don't have skills. Maybe I'm just deluded. I don't know. But it's exhausting. It's so exhausting. I don't know what to do anymore. I just don't.
I pay $4,382 to my federal student loans each month. Yes, you heard that right. $4,382 each month. Today, in part 2 of my series of videos on student loans, I'm going to tell you why I decided to walk away from public service loan forgiveness. So buckle up. For those who are new here, hi, I'm Dr. Esther Trujillo, and I post about Latinos in the US on TikTok. Occasionally, I also post about why going through academia is financially violent for low-income and first-generation students, and I talk about why student loans are killing our joy and our opportunities. I graduated with $110,000 of student loan debt, and because the federal government believes in daily compounding interest and dark magic, that figure ballooned to $120,000 during the COVID freeze. Now, between 2017 and 2020, I paid $6,332 toward my loans while on an income-driven plan and under the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program. Every dollar that I paid during that time went to interest. None of it went to principal. I was on track. I was doing everything right. But in 2022, I decided to leave my public sector job. The reason? Well, my then fiance, now husband, made me a spreadsheet, and that spreadsheet changed my life. I mean, talk about romance. This man did a full-scale economic modeling for our future life over dinner. I don't know if that's not romantic. I don't know what is. But basically, I told him, I can't marry you because my income's going to go up too high. We have to file jointly, do the immigration stuff. And if we do that, my payment's going to balloon, so I can't marry you. And he was like, bet, let me make you a spreadsheet. Needless to say, he had me from there. So it turns out that if I stayed in the public sector, I would end up paying $68,000 total. And that's if I stayed on an income-driven plan and tried to make those 120 qualifying payments for PSLF. But that meant that I would have to stay in a low-paying job for the next 5 to 6 years. Professor salaries, I don't know if you guys know, but professor salaries ain't shit. I mean, it's really a sad situation. The highest paid incoming professors that I've known of make about $100K, and they're in the UC system. Ivies make about the same, maybe a little less, maybe $80,000, $87,000 a year. And it's not a lot of money, and it jumps very small increments each year. Even when people get tenure, that figure only goes up about 10K, which is really sad. So we modeled it. If I jumped to a private sector job where I made at least $90,000, I could throw $5,000 a month at the problem and kill my loan within 3 years. I would be on a path towards salary growth, potential bonuses, investing for my retirement, and to be honest, just hope. So I made the pivot. Now I work in the private sector. I'm on track to be completely free of this student loan by this time next year. My balance is under 50,000 right now. I can smell the freedom. I can see the finish line. So why did I decide to let go of PSLF and the public sector life? Well, there are a couple of reasons. I was noticing a couple things. First, I noticed that a lot of my friends who made those 120 payments were being disqualified from PSLF for technicalities. Things like missing paperwork, servicer mistakes, and other issues like not consolidating before starting that payment plan. Next, what I noticed was that a lot of people were staying in terrible jobs just for, to be able to qualify for PSLF. Now, for me, pay was the problem. My job actually wasn't that bad when I compare it to what other people I've known have gone through in professor jobs. Professor jobs have a lot of prestige, but they don't have a lot of pay and they don't have a lot of respect within academia itself. I mean, think of any academic, the egos are out of control. So you can imagine what those faculty meetings are like. The third thing that I noticed was that the opportunity cost of not moving to the private sector was too high for me. My skill set is super valuable, and I could see that, my husband could see that, and other people could too. So yes, I will pay the full amount of my principal loan and all the interest. That is $133,717.32 when all is said and done. But I'll be free. I'm going to be free, bitch, and I'm going to be free fast. I'm going to be free. I'm going to be making more. I'm going to be building generational wealth, and there's not a single employee from FedLoan that's going to get my money. Well, not for any longer. And to be clear, I think PSLF is a great tool. Teachers, public health workers, public servants, they are the backbone of our society. That just wasn't my path anymore. So stay tuned for my next couple videos about student loans, federal student loans. This isn't just a choices problem, it's a structural problem.
I want to talk about student loans real quick because I just found out something that is so frustrating. This is my current student loan balance, $21,444. My original amount was $28,500. So you can see I've already paid off around $7,000 worth of my student loans, which yes, I am really proud of. But I felt like I was doing everything correctly. And today I called up my student loan servicer, Ed Financial, and I said, hey, I just want to make sure that my overage that I am paying every month, because the amount that they quoted me that I should be paying towards my student loans every month is $250. At least somewhere around there. So I said, you know what? I'm going to do the right thing and I'm going to pay $500 a month. I'm going to double it and pay $500 a month. So I'm paying off that principal faster. And while yes, I'm paying off that principal a little bit faster, the lady that I spoke with on the phone told me that I can't actually choose where that payment goes. So even though I'm paying $250 extra, I can't say put that amount towards my principal. And the reason being that these numbers that they set saying, here, this is the suggested amount that we think that you should pay towards your student loan is usually only really covering the bare minimum. And the reason that they do this is so that you're still accruing interest. And if you have unpaid interest because you're paying so low on your loans, that interest will then start accruing interest. And even though you're making these payments, your loan amount is going to keep going up because the interest accrues interest, and it's just a never ending cycle. So I went in and looked, and you can see here, this is my last payment. I paid $500. $318 of that went towards my principal. Around $181 went towards my interest. And if you can see here, back in October, I paid $223 in interest, which is only $25 less than my payment. And so I asked her on the phone, I said, hey, what's going on with that? And she said, you actually have unpaid interest. And I was like, okay, yeah, you know what? That makes sense. But I didn't realize my interest was accruing interest because I have these unsubsidized loans. So even though I graduated in 2020, right into a forbearance period, this still had interest from when I was in college. So I said, okay, great. That's definitely my bad. I didn't really realize that. But can I pay that unpaid interest now so that it stops accruing more interest? And she said, actually, no. Just like the fact that you can't go in and say, put this money towards my principal, you also can't go in and say, okay, put this money towards my unpaid interest. So even though today I have $229 of unpaid interest, I can't say, here, Ed Financial, here's $229 to cover that unpaid interest. So that unpaid interest will continue accruing interest until my loans are completely paid off. And this is the root of the entire problem right here. It is my money. It is my loan. I should be able to say where it goes. Obviously within reason. I understand it's a loan. I understand it's accruing interest. But if I have unpaid interest, I should be able to say, here is the money. Please pay the interest. Or just be transparent with me about where my money is going, what is supposed to be paid, and how to pay it.
We have 68,000 people over the age of 62 who are still paying their crippling student loans. Student loan payments for federal loans are now due again. For 4 years, those federal loans were paused, but they're not paused anymore. It is estimated that millions of borrowers are going to have their credit hit this summer because they have not started making the payments again. In Georgia, we have 1.7 million student loan borrowers. Nationally, we have 47 million students who have borrowed. And many people feel like they will be paying their entire life.
All right, so I just wanted to, hold on. Okay, I'm not gonna be like one of them people. I'm not gonna be one of them people crying on the internet. Just let y'all know, I just got a notification, that my Credit Karma, I just, received my student loan payment and my student loan update. And basically 125 points. 125 points were literally just taken away from our credit, just like that, because of Trump and taking all of student loans out of forbearance. So try to set up a payment plan. You can try to do an extension. But yeah, so just let everybody know that this shit is fucking real.
In case all 24 of you missed it, I might have to sue First Mark Student Loans. Why, you might ask? Because I borrowed $18,000, I paid back over $12,000, and I still owe, drum roll please, over $16,000. The math ain't mathin'. It's giving Ponzi scheme with paperwork. So they misapplied my payments. They also auto-debited during my deferment, which is quite literally prohibited in my promissory note, and then gaslit me trying to say that there was a grace period that doesn't even exist in my contract. So let's call it what it is. Predatory lending. And who does it target the most? Black, brown, indigenous folks. People that were promised that education was the key, only to get locked into a financial cage with rising interest rates as bars. A First Mark supervisor admitted on a recorded call that my payments were misapplied, but they have done nothing to fix it. So I'm working on demanding a full discharge, zero balance, and documentation in writing, bitch. If you're in the same boat, pull out your statements, check your balances, because this isn't just a debt, it's legalized exploitation, and we're gonna fight back.
So I never thought I would be the person to think this way, but I honestly believe that in 2025 and on, college is a scam. I don't believe, unless you're going to be a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, or something like that, that you should need to go to college. I feel like it is basically just a status symbol for most parents to say like their kid is going to like a prestigious college or college in general. It's overpriced. Like 75% of students don't work in the field that they got their degree in. I also feel like many of the professors have a very outdated mentality, and that's how they teach. I also feel like working in a trade, such as like plumbing, electrician, contract work, contractors, people who have like a skill or a trade, they don't need to go to college. Like you can learn how to do that on your own. I also feel like the tuition is out of control. It's like average college is $50,000 a year, and then you're left with most people an astronomical amount of student debt that takes years and years and years and years to pay off. And most of the time you don't even get a job right out of college. And I feel like people who are my age were like indoctrinated into thinking that if we got a college degree, we got a bachelor's degree, we would be set for life. That is so not true. And now I'm thinking like for my daughter, unless she wants to be like a doctor or a lawyer, she doesn't need to go to college. It's not a prerequisite for her. And another thing, I think the whole college structure is like how I said it was status. It's also been like glamorized for making friends, being in sororities, meeting people, networking, moving away, going to being in a new place, becoming on your own. So you're basically like paying for the lifestyle, not the education. And it's very sad because I loved college. I had a great experience. Luckily, I never had any college debt. I loved my school, but it was like for like the status of going to a private university, for meeting a bunch of new people and being in a different city and state. And that was like the main reason why I loved it. Like, yeah, did I learn some stuff? Yeah. And do I use it in my everyday life? No. But they say, like, if you get this degree, you get this piece of paper, you can get a job that pays like $100,000 a year right out of school. And that's not happening, especially right now. So don't go to college unless you want to be a doctor or a lawyer. Okay, bye.
The cost of attendance as an in-state student for the 2025-2026 academic year at the University of New Hampshire came out this week, and it totaled to $41,798. That's in-state. That's including financial aid, like scholarships and stuff that UNH has awarded me. So yeah. Thankfully, my parents have been able to subsidize the first, like, all 3 years that I've attended UNH so far. I'm going into my senior year, so I don't have any student loans, like, if I were to graduate today, that I would need to pay off, which I can't explain to you how much of a blessing and how relieving that is. Like, that is, I'm so fortunate, I know that. But one goal that I've set for myself is to pay as much of my senior year as possible. And so I'm working a ton this summer. I'm working 40 hours a week as a finance intern. I'm also working as a server and babysitting. But another goal that I have is to make some passive income. And so I would love to hit 1,000 followers on TikTok so that I can start making money from TikTok Shop and the TikTok Creator Rewards program, and then also Pinterest and Like to Know It. So if you'd like to help a girl pay her college tuition for her senior year so that her parents don't have to, you should follow me. And also, if you think it's ridiculous that an in-state student has to pay $42,000 a year to attend a state school, like this video, leave a comment, because I too think it's ridiculous.
We talk about how much debt we graduated with and what degree we got, because every time I post videos on this, people from other countries are just so shocked at how expensive school in the US is. I went to a community college for 1 year and then I went to UGA for 4 years and I got a degree in public health. The tuition at the community college was about $1,000, but the tuition at UGA was between $3,500 and $4,000 per semester. And that's just the tuition, right? Like you also need to buy books, and if you want to live on campus, you also have to pay more, all that jazz. So in total, I graduated with $32,000 of student loan debt, and those were federal loans, which were between 3.4% and 7% interest. And I also had a Parent Plus loan, which that's already been paid off. And right now I have about $17,000 left. And to be honest with you, I don't really use my degree. Obviously, it's helped me get a job because most jobs want you to have some type of a degree, but I don't work in the public health sector. So tell us, what was your degree and how much student loan debt did you have?